Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Stoveside Chats. Thank you for being here today. Today I have on the interview Farmer Randy Lewis of Ranloo Dairy. I'm just on the lookout for him. Don't see him just yet. But so last week, there he is. All right, hang on one second, guys. All right. Hey, guys.
Hi, what's that?
How's it going? Thanks, Taylor.
Yeah, have fun, y'all.
I appreciate it. Hey, Randy, how are you, sir?
I'm good, and I hope you are.
I'm doing good.
It took my
So,
IT to get this done, you know.
That's right. Now I hear you, man. I'm figuring all this stuff out too in this brave new world we're living in. So last week when I was doing my interview with Chef James Patterson, who you know, he's been out to your farm and got some milk from you, I referred to you twice as Chef Randy Lewis because I don't know where my mind was, but you're not a chef. I'm sure you're a great cook, but you are a really good friend to the chef. Randy Lewis is the owner and operator of Ranloo Dairy in Alamance County. Randy, give us a little bit of history about the farm there.
Well, I guess I'm the fifth generation to be here. They were just subsistence farmers or whatever up until about 1950, and they built the Grade A dairy part of that. My grandmother and my grandfather built that on, and he died shortly thereafter, and my grandmother ran the dairy for 20 more years after her husband died. And I learned the cow business from her. The last 4 years that she milked, I stayed right up under her feet, and I learned cows, and she didn't know anything about growing crops, but now she knew cows. So that's sort of that was my love affair with the cow started, and it's been, I don't know, 50 some years, and I still love cows.
Yeah.
So we're here now. We're still here plugging it out.
Yeah, definitely. Now, originally, the farm was built in the late 1800s, right? It's over 100 years old.
Yeah, that was from census records. We're pretty sure that the Lewises were living here in 1850. That's as far back as we've been able to go. There's no, they cut Alamance County out of Orange County. They essentially cut Orange County in half, I think, in like 1848. And there was a fire in the courthouse in Hillsborough in 1845 or 6 or something that burned up all the records. So we've never actually been able to determine when the Lewises took charge of this land. We checked Alamance County, Orange County, couldn't find anything. There was some disputed land in Chatham County. There's 4 or 5, I don't know, well, maybe 3 miles that was sort of disputed up to Cane Creek, which is a mile down the road. But we would have never been in Chatham County. But I checked there anyway. So we've just never been able to find it. As far as I know, it was cut out of Orange County sometime before then.
So tell us a little bit about your milk making process and about the product itself.
Well, when we decided to start this venture, for a number of different reasons, we just decided that simpler was better. If you read ingredient labels and you own stuff, you know, there's always a lot of stuff in there that doesn't seem like it needs to be there. And one of my mottos is milk ain't broke, it don't need fixing. So that's sort of, that's sort of the approach that I took. And our customers are very loyal to that. And we try very hard to be loyal to that as well, because that's sort of what we do. So when we started, we decided not to homogenize the milk. So everything we do is just we milk it out of the cow, put it in a bottle, and sell it. That's essentially all we do to it, or try to anyway. We don't, other than the low fat, we don't take any milk. We don't take any of the fat out of the milk.
Yeah. I remember a conversation you and I had a couple of years back where you were talking, well, I guess kind of joking around about rebranding, or at least adding the tagline of barely legal milk, which I think would get a lot of people's attention because, I mean, there's no, like you said, there's no emulsifiers, no Carrageenan, any of that stuff. It's old school top cream milk, and the milk will separate out, the fat coagulates at the top, so you got to give it a good shake, and the flavor is fantastic.
Yeah, that's what we're going. That's what we were doing, and like our chocolate milk is that was the first thing we made that actually was, besides just having the cream rise to the top. We don't put any carrageenan or cornstarch or any of the gums in there, so our chocolate milk's not thick. And it'll have, after it sits a couple of days, you'll have cream on top, and the cocoa settles out. It'll look kind of, brown, but you'll have, a layer of cocoa in the bottom of the jug where you have to shake it up good to do it. And so, it's very different. Our milk looks different, tastes different. It has a different mouth feel. It doesn't leave that coating on your tongue or whatever like some do. It's quite a bit different. And some people don't like it. I mean, but the people that do are very religious about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you guys do whole milk, chocolate milk, and buttermilk.
Yes, and low fat. We do a naturally separated low fat milk.
Yeah, and you've recently added ice cream to your product.
That's been the biggest effect. Well, two big effects of the pandemic has been on us. When restaurants shut down, about half of our business was for restaurants. So, most of that went away. So we had to scramble around and try to figure out how to supplement income enough to survive till everything started picking back up. And we did start a curbside pickup here, or as Taylor likes to call it, a cowside pickup. We used to try to get lost in the front yard while that's going on. We got an old brown Swiss cow that she's just a yard cow. She hangs around outside all the time. So we try to put her out. So we got, a cow looking around grazing while everybody shows up. And that's been good. But then the next logical step was ice cream. So once again, we're doing things very naturally. We use, I can tell you more of what we don't. We don't use any of the stabilizers that make ice cream what it is. I don't know how to put it. Smooth and as smooth and creamy as it is. And because we don't use a cream separator, we market it as gelato. Because but according to FDA, for ice cream it has to be like I think it's above 10 or 11% butterfat, somewhere in that range. And and ours is about 8, between 7 and 8. And so we had to market it as gelato, which gelato is essentially low fat ice cream. And
man, good. I like it.
So that's what we do. But we've worked hard at upping the solids in it enough that it's still pretty creamy. After with homemade ice cream, we still make it in an old churn style ice cream maker. And it's always good when you first dip it out, but after you refreeze it, it's pretty hard. So we've worked hard to up the solids in that enough to where when it refreezes, it's not so hard. And and we've got, it's worked out pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying. That's very international of you, gelato.
Yeah. It's we had a gentleman that picked some up over at Cane Creek. He said he had been to Rome some years ago, and he said this was the first truly gelato tasting frozen stuff he had since he got back to the States. So he's the only person that said that, but I'll take it. I agree with him.
Yeah. Talk more about how the pandemic has affected you guys. Like, I know that, your restaurant business dropped off altogether at one point. How did you guys, was there a natural shift to retail? Were other people calling you in the retail segment to get more of your milk? How did that work out for you?
Well, that was, to start with, retail did pick up quite a bit, which did help out. And we had a lot of part of the curbside thing was to, I guess ethically, morally, whatever. I mean, I don't blame people for not wanting to go to a grocery store. And if they have another option, and we felt like we needed to provide people who were truly at risk an option not to go. And, for local or however, we have people drive here from Cary fairly regularly. So that's the real reason behind it. It was economics as well, but it was, we wanted to do the right thing for our customers. And for those who couldn't go get it or didn't want to go shopping at a crowded store, we decided we'd make it as readily available as possible to do that. And that was the first thing that came up. And of course, then the ice cream, and we sort of figured that if we made it available this way, it would give people it'd give us a chance to sort of get more connected with people who support us, and I think that's always been an important part of what we do is we try to be fairly transparent, and, we can't let everybody just drive in the yard when you come to pick up, because it's just, and so we try to keep our social distance, but on the other hand, drive to the farm, sort of see what goes on, and, and you get to see Taylor, because, if you come on Saturday, Taylor's she takes up. I have to do the pickup once in a while, but nobody comes to see me.
That's funny. So now you guys used to sell to the commercial dairy industry, like when you guys first started. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did that. I mean, all my life we'd always sold to well, not always to a co-op, but to a processor. As far as it was years and years ago, we sold to Mayola in New Bern. Of course, they're long since gone. The name exists, but but Mayola was bought out a long time ago. And then we sold to a co-op, sure enough, after that. It was, in 2009 when everything blew up and, went crazy, we were losing money. I mean, it was like a hemorrhage. And the only way, we had lost enough money over time that we had to do something differently. And I had a niece at the time who was going to try to come back to the farm. So we decided we had to do something. And this is what we were going to do. We were going to try to either we're small enough and we couldn't get big. And in the commercial dairy industry now, you either get big or get out, because there's just no, milking 50 or 100 cows, or maybe now even 500 cows. You can't, there's just not enough money in it. It's the economy of scale has really taken a hold in the dairy industry. So if you want to keep milking cows, you're either going to have to find a niche market, find a way to self-market or whatever else like that, or you're probably not going to survive for very long. Yeah.
So now obviously you don't deal with those guys anymore, but how do they affect you, like as far as pricing and tariffs and all that stuff? How does that affect your small, more, I guess, kind of, like a community-based dairy operation?
Well, I guess in a way it might affect our price a little bit, but as somebody told me one time, people that are buying our milk are not shopping price. They're shopping quality or ingredient or whatever, process, however we do it. I mean, so I guess we're not the co-ops, that economy just doesn't affect us. The producer processors, our milk's not going to be as cheap, never will be as cheap, and shouldn't be as cheap as it is, commercial milk. It just, it's not. It's just not the same product. I mean, it's all milk, but the way it's handled, the way it's processed is not the same. And so that's and we're inspected by the same inspectors, all of that as far as FDA or NCDA goes. We all abide by the same rules that way. But so anything that go in the marketplace like that, I mean, we're all on an equal scale there. It's mainly price. And I guess availability.
I've had that conversation a lot recently with people who are buying more local now during this pandemic. I know a lot of farmers who are selling directly to their customers are having a pretty record year as far as that goes, because we know there's plenty of food out there. It's just it's bottlenecking when it gets to the processing part. of the chain. But you know, it does cost a little more to buy local quality products, but in the long run, you'll probably be paying less in healthcare by buying better food now. So that's something that, you know, I really want to drive home to people. Like, I'm kind of getting tired of the phrase the new normal, but when things get back to semi-normal, like, don't forget about the local farmers and that small food community that supported you during this pandemic, and keep that going once this is over. Keep buying local, keep supporting folks in your community, keep those dollars within the communities. And I think that we'll all be a lot better off in the long run.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's one. I'm not so sure, had this not happened, I'm not so sure I would have actually believed what I saw. Pretty much, I'm kind of old maybe and set in my ways, and but I have realized very plainly, and if this doesn't drive it home, nothing ever will. That if the system breaks down, and it didn't totally break down, but it could. I mean,
yeah.
you're going to be needing the people that live 5 miles from you to feed you. Because I mean, if they had shut down interstate commerce, that would have been devastating. Because so much food comes into our state from elsewhere. So you know, you can't just support your neighbors when you need them. If you don't support them all the time, they truly won't be here when you do need them.
That's right. Yeah. So how far out does your milk go out from your farm? Like, what's your radius? Like, how far does it get out to the market?
Well, so as far as what we self-distribute, we don't really have much milk going west of Alamance County. We have some Lowe's stores. Most of it goes to Chapel Hill, Durham, and Cary.
Okay.
Those are our big retail outlets. But through the distributors, through Cheney Brothers mainly, you know, our milk it goes from I guess you could almost say from Murphy to Manio. I don't really know where it all goes, but I know we have well, before the pandemic at least, we had a lot of customers in Asheville, and we also have a lot of customers down around in Wilmington, Newbern, down at the coast as well. So it travels quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mostly in North Carolina.
Yeah. I saw your ice cream at the May Farms stall at the farmers market in Raleigh.
Sure.
What are some of the other stores where people can buy your product, like Whole Foods, places like that?
No, we hadn't got that far along in the world yet. Well, you can buy our ice cream. You can buy our milk at Whole Foods, but not ice cream. Ice cream, mainly May Farms, because Mike comes out here and picks it up. But just mainly local. It's
Cool.
Saxby Hall General Store. We have a little store a mile up the road right there at Eli Whitney called J&J Produce. It's available there. There's a friend of my niece's that started a little farm stand in Snow Camp called H&H Farm Stand, and they sell our ice cream. But mostly it's just local, you know, other than Mike's. But they're selling a lot of it. We finally got in the general store at Saxby Hall, and they sold everything they had in like 2 days, and ordered more. And I got over there pretty late, and the guy said, "Did you bring any strawberry with you when you come?" And I said, "Yeah, I got some." He said, "Well, look, I want one." So I never even got it all to the shelf. There were people buying it as I brought it in the door, which is kind of good. You know, that's very makes you feel a little more optimistic about the future of it.
That's right. Well, Randy, thank you so much for being here. Actually, I think I'm going to start calling you Randy Lewis, International Man of Milk, since you're making gelato now. So thank you for being here. I really, really appreciate it. You guys check out Ranloo Dairy Milk, Ranloo Dairy Gelato. It's awesome stuff. Keep doing what you're doing, man. We love you and we appreciate you. And thanks for being here.
Thanks a lot, Chad. I appreciate you doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Right,
Yeah, it means a lot.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, bud.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. And thank you, everybody who is joining us and waving in. I appreciate it. I try to wave back, but sometimes I forget. But anyway, we'll be back next Wednesday with another interview. And thank you for being here. Talk to you soon.